I'm tired of playing defense on the faith journey. I'm tired of being afraid. I'm tired of apologizing. Do you ever just get tired of reacting to the devil and his schemes? I want to be somebody who's directing. I want to be somebody who's leading. I don't want his threats to dictate one step that I take. So many of us, we tiptoe through life to simply arrive safely at death. It is a fact that you will die. The question today is, will you ever actually live?
Is there anybody in this building that's tired of being discontent? And you want to be able to say, if I get my way, I'm going to be happy. If I don't get my way, I'm going to be happy. I'm not going to let my circumstances control my moods. I am content and emotionally stable. That is my goal, to be content and emotionally stable.
It doesn't take much faith to give God glory when all your bills are paid. You don't have to be real strong when everything is well in your life. But when the bottom falls out, when sickness comes, when trials and difficulties come, when your health starts to fail, when your children break your heart, when difficulties, tough times, hard days, long nights, it is then that your faith kicks in to let you know that he's a very present help in the time of trouble.
Maybe you're unhappy right now with your current job. Maybe you're unhappy with your health, or maybe you're unhappy with the season of life you find yourself in. Has it ever occurred to you that you are not there by coincidence, but rather you are there by providence? Has it ever occurred to you that God has a plan, that he's putting the puzzle together, and that you must recognize, regardless of the season, I am here for such a time as this? See, there's a reason for your season. There's purpose in your pain. There is a design in the disaster. There's hope in the hurt. There's life even after death. I think it's time for a turnaround.
Because crying and complaining is not going to stop the trial. Murmuring and groaning is not going to stop the trial. And the purposes that God wants to work out in our lives may include trials, setbacks, heartbreak. It may mean that you have to stay sick a while. It may mean that you have to go through it a while. You're not going to come through it yet because God has his mighty hand on you. And that hand on your life is so powerful to get purpose out of you.
And you know what? Those days are good for us. It's good to go through those days. Do not despise the day of small beginnings. And don't complain your way through small beginnings. Because if we cannot learn to be thankful for those things, trust me, you will not be thankful when God gives you more. Because going through the hard times and remaining thankful builds character in us that we need to remain stable when God gives us more to be responsible for. We should have a goal to be the most thankful person on the face of the earth. Go through each day thanking God for little things like hot water and a friend and every convenience that you have, and do all things without grumbling and fault-finding and complaining.
Hold your head up and dry your tears. You have nothing to be ashamed of. If you want to begin to move, you've got to clear your mind of all the unnecessary luggage and baggage that's weighing us down. Let it go and begin to focus on developing myself. And I say to you, you're going to have people to do things to you. Things are going to happen to you. And the most important thing to do is to harness your will and let it go. And move so you can grow, so you can get on with your life. It doesn't matter about what happens to you. What matters is, what are you going to do about it?
Every other voice may be negative, telling you how you're not going to get better. You feel alone, isolated. It means you're in the wrong stadium. The enemy has a stadium filled with accusers, discouragers. Don't go there. That's the opponent's stadium. Your game is being played on the home field. Everyone in these stands is pulling for you.
Your life is a seed. The seed has to be coupled with a healthy environment. The seed has to go into the soil. It has to be healthy soil. The seed needs water. The seed needs sunlight. See, you and I are the same thing. We're a seed. We have to connect it to a community of people that are healthy and vibrant and believe the best really is in store for us. See, because you're kind of saying, I'm over it, but if you would share your calling, the moment you say, I'm over it, you would have somebody else walk up to you and say, wait a minute, let me just shed some light onto that dark area so that you can grow again. You're not quitting today. You're not quitting tomorrow. You're going to run this race of faith and you're not going to give up.
So as you begin to look at life, as you begin to look at the things you want to do, decide that you're going to become the active force in your life. Decide that you're not going to go through life feeling like a victim. Decide that when things become challenging, that you're not going to personalize it, that you're going to look at it, and you do whatever you must do in order to work things out and learn from it. That's the key. You will always be faced with a series of God-ordained opportunities, brilliantly disguised as problems and challenges.
We all have things that come against us and try to keep us from our destiny. Most of what we struggle with didn't start with us. It was passed down. Things like depression, anger, divorce. Studies show how that can get passed from generation to generation. If your mother was depressed, there's a good chance you'll have to deal with depression. Just like a lady that's on drugs and gives birth to a baby, that baby can have the same addiction as the mother. There's no fault of the babies, it's just life. What you're dealing with may not have started with you, but it can stop with you. God wants to give you rest from those enemies. As long as we accept dysfunction as the norm, it will never change. If you see that depression, that lack and struggle as your lot in life, you'll not only get stuck, but you'll pass it on to the next generation.
Got to get the word. Happiness is something you design. Happiness is a study. Happiness is a practice. Happiness is an art. It's not an accident. It's an art. And anybody that wants to can study, practice the art of happy living. Happiness is like culture. Money doesn't make you cultured, but culture is within the grasp of all of us. All you have to be is committed to it and make it a study. Culture is a study. Sophistication is a study. It's not an amount. It's not an account. It's a study. Money doesn't make you sophisticated. Only study and practice makes you sophisticated. Only study and practice makes you cultured. And only study and practice makes you happy. Study and practice makes you rich. Key phrase, don't be lazy in learning. 1, how to do well. Next, how to live well. Don't be lazy in learning and practicing the art of economics and practicing the art of lifestyle.
As long as you accept the dysfunction, even when God sends you a way out, you'll talk yourself out of it. You think it's normal to live depressed, addicted, angry, lonely. This is a new day. You may have been ruled by those things for years. They may have been passed down by previous generations, but that is not your destiny. What's limited you in the past doesn't have to limit you in the future. You can rise out of lack, struggle, not having enough. You have seeds of greatness. You were created to lend and not borrow. You can be free from depression, low self-esteem, insecurity. Don't let limited thinking keep you from your destiny.
There's some things that you can accomplish that you can't see right now. My favorite book says, eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has entered the heart of mankind what God has in store for you. When you're willing to say yes, when you're willing to move forward, life will respond to you. Mindset transformation is very important. Be ye not conformed to this world. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You don't want to think like everybody else. You want uncommon thinking. Expand your skill set.
If it's in your imagination, it's possible. Do you know that you can't think of something that can't happen? You know it's impossible to think of the impossible. It's not possible. So if you think it, it's possible. And if you live your life in possibilities instead of probabilities, you have a greater chance of finding happiness.
I cannot have another year like I had. I cannot sit in this addiction for another 12 months. I refuse to live like this again. Something's got to give. I'm desperate, and I've got a hunger for God that only God can fix and God can fulfill and God can do in my family and in my home. To be slain with the sword is better than to be slain with hunger. Better to go down fighting than to sit there and die.
I believe that we have an obligation to God to learn how to live in victory. I want you all to make a decision this morning before we go any further at all. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Neither let them be afraid. Stop allowing yourselves to be agitated and disturbed. And do not permit yourselves to be fearful and intimidated and cowardly and unsettled.
You know, life will do this to you. Try to label you according to your educational background, according to your ethnicity, according to whether you're a man or a woman, or according to life will try to label you this way. I want to make an announcement. You can't disappoint what God has appointed. You can't disappoint. When God gets ready to do work in your life, when God gets ready to raise you up.
There's things in your life that are necessary, but they're unpleasant. Working out my legs is necessary, but it's unpleasant. Why is it necessary? Because it's the largest muscles in your body. See, what you learn is it's this thing called unintended consequences. You don't know what type of fight you gotta face on Tuesday. You don't know what your boss is gonna come and say on Friday. But thank God you've been putting in some work on the interior life that when you need to fight, you got some strength.
I'm the kind of person, if I'm going to do it, I'm all in. I'm the kind of person, I don't like being in between. I don't like to be at the back of the line. I want to be in the front of the line, and I'm going to prepare myself and work on myself to be a dominant voice.
Carefully consider how you live. So live wisely, not foolishly. Make the most of your time, because these are difficult days. You need to have a routine. Now, when you're stuck at home, it's so easy to slip into sloppiness. I want you to write this down right now. Routine develops resilience.
You got to resource yourself well, file every day, read every day. And so at 17, I started reading and filing every day, and literally have done it all my life. And one day I began to realize I was relying way too much on those files, that I wasn't as creative and I wasn't testing what I should be testing, because I had a safety net. I go over there and, well, here I got this, and I was starting to read old thoughts, and old thoughts are old thoughts.
Happiness is freedom from the negative children of fear, such as worry, low self-esteem, envy, greed, anger, resentment, and so on. Happiness is an awareness and a grasp of the positive power of life and loving values. It is an order of thought, activity, and lifestyle. Happiness is values in balance. It is contact with people of substance.
Never live your life in probability. Probability is the probability of something happening. There's a statistic attached to a probability. 1 in every 3,000 people do this. That's a probability. A possibility has no stats attached to it. Live your life in possibilities and you're changing. Just change the way you think.
If you've had a dream, I guarantee you were born with that dream woven into your DNA. You see, dreams are deeply personal. And this is important for you to understand, because if you give up on your dream's going to haunt you.
When the seed is sown into your heart, the devil comes immediately to try to steal the seed that was sown. And I think one of the ways that he does it is by very simply testing you on what you just heard. And we need to get it. Learn a new sentence. This is only a test. Can we practice? Say, this is only a test.
You can't see how the fact that they laid you off from that job was actually preparing you for something, teaching you some things, going to get you some discipline in some areas, and that later on a door would open up that God would use to move you into new dimensions. But you can't see the destiny in the face of the disappointment. Sometimes God will give you enough of the details to get you in the right area, but He won't give you enough specifics where you don't need Him to show you what to do next.
When suffering hits my life, I hope I have been putting into my interior life. But in order to use all those other muscles to face suffering, you're gonna actually have to put in and focus on the body and focus on your legs and understand it's leg day. It's gonna have some unintended consequences. And His big leg day workout routine for you is this little phrase, live in harmony.
For 29 years, kicking cancer's butt. And still working, still in his right mind, still got the fire in his belly, still being active, still making a difference, still motivating people and inspiring people and making people feel good. If you believe that laughter is important, if you believe being deliberately positive is important, having a spirit of optimism is important in spite of.
Predictability creates stability. Structure creates steadiness. You need to set and stick with a routine for the duration of this pandemic. Stop watching so much news because it's all negative right now. And for your own mental and emotional and spiritual health, you need to monitor your media intake.
I made a decision, a very difficult decision. All of my work for all those years of filing, I made a decision to get rid of all of it. They're not relevant, they're not new, they're not fresh, they don't breathe, there's no fire and passion in them. I'm just going to say to you, one of the good things about a crisis is it begins to help us to let go of the things that we have depended on the past so that we can go to an entire new level of living.
One woman just decided, you know what? You can't take my dignity from me. I can only give that up, and I don't choose to give it up. And I will not go back to the bus. The answer is no. And Rosa Parks changed an entire society because that day she chose to focus on something else. She gave it a different meaning. This is not a command. You do not have control over me. And she decided to fight. And she changed the direction of a country and of many other countries. She started something.
There's another dimension, which is trait conscientiousness, which is integrity and dutifulness, orderliness, industriousness, openness, which is like a hybrid between intelligence roughly, and creativity. And so you can go there and find out how you compare to other people. And that's kind of interesting and useful because it's kind of useful to know who you are and to know that that's actually who you are, you know, that you have a nature.
We forget that you don't have to be famous to have the ability to change at least your own personal history, to change the direction we go in our life. We have the power to choose, even if you haven't before. You can finally say, no more, I won't put up with that, within myself or from anybody else. And here's what I'm going to do differently. That's where the breakthroughs really start to happen. Now the question is, why do some people stand their ground and make something change versus other people just kind of accept things?
Happiness is contentment with the tasks of your life. It is thought inspired by, organized with, and rooted in your personal philosophy to become an invaluable form of currency for you to spend and invest in your own better future. Happiness is activity with purpose. It's love in practice.
You can take an introvert. You know you're an introvert if when you're around people, you get exhausted by it and you have to go off by yourself and recover. You know, then you're an introvert. And if you're an introvert, you don't really like being in groups. And so sales, you know, maybe that's not for you, you know. And that's a good thing to know because if you're an introvert, why go be a salesperson and be miserable? Do something where you can spend time alone and not be miserable. That's better.
The day that you start living your life according to everybody else's opinion is the beginning of the end. Most of y'all don't actually know your self-worth. You don't know your self-value. So you're like a vulnerable little child. You're shaking, and it's like, everybody loves me this week, so I love me this week. Next week, it drops. So now you're running around insecure and not loving yourself, sad and depressed, based on the feedback, the responses, and the energy that the rest of the world is giving you.
But have you ever considered the reason why you're going in circles is because you never stop to consider, have I ever checked my circle? Someone say, check your circle.
I love me. So the day that you decide to stop loving me, I'm not gonna love myself any less. I believe in me. If you stop believing in me, I'm not gonna believe in myself any less. If you believe that I'm irrelevant, because you think or believe that about me, it doesn't mean that I'm gonna believe it about myself.
A person of character doesn't care if you discover their private life. If you are afraid that I may find out about your private life, you have no character. You are a character.
The day that you allow the opinions of the outside world to dictate the way you feel about yourself, it is the beginning of the end of you living a blessed and self-loving, secure life.
Friend, listen to me loud and clear. Do not pick your friends that are enabling you. Pick some friends who empower you.
Love yourself, believe in yourself, independent of the validation of the world. Have opinions and feelings about yourself, independent of the feedback. Why you gotta have somebody calling you beautiful every day in order for you to feel beautiful? Do you believe that you're beautiful? Or do you only believe you're beautiful when other people say that you're beautiful? Self-love is the cure to self-hate.
A truly courageous person is not afraid of what might or might not happen next week or next year. He fears not making the most of every moment today. A truly courageous person fears making appearances more important than realities, making impressions more important than communication.
Think about something that you'd like to have, or something you'd like to create for you or your family. I want you to hold this thought in mind. Now, one of the first things I want you to do is don't worry about the inner conversation that you're going to have. Don't worry about how you're going to do it. That's going to come. You're going to develop a plan of action. You will find the way. You'll become the kind of person that can attract the people, the resources, in order to make that become reality.
The discipline can seem like it's your worst enemy, but the reality is, discipline is your best friend, and it'll put you on that path. The path to strength and intelligence and happiness.
What is the vision for your life? What are the ideas and the dreams for your life? Who are you? What are your gifts and talents? What is your ultimate destiny and your goals? God will never give you something somebody else is supposed to have.
Negativity, you can protect yourself from negativity. And that's what stops most people, negative thoughts. You can coat your mind from negativity. It's a real simple exercise to do. I do it every morning before I walk out the door. So I walk out as a positive person. The way you can put a coating around your mind is with one simple thing, gratitude.
Passion gives us a great amount of energy, and when we have that passion, there's something about how we love what we're doing and we enjoy what we're doing, and passion energizes us. It's possible to be passionate about something that you're not gifted in. Hello? Let me explain. Have you ever watched the tryouts at an American Idol?
We can see that most people aren't as successful as they wish they were. Do you see there's a connection between these two very common phenomena? I hope you'll understand that it's in your best interests to take responsibility for everything you do.
You spend your life performing for a crowd, it'll kill you. And you're like, I'm good. I'm not a singer. I don't perform for people.
It's gotten much deeper than that now. It's the feeling that we get when we start offering ourselves up in a form that is more impressive to people, but is not authentic to us.
See, when you're going someplace and you already know how much you're going to make, you already know how far you can go, you're in a dead-end position. It erodes your self-esteem. It lowers your sense of yourself. It creates an emptiness in you. So I say that your life is worth finding.
Don't be so obsessed with them. Be obsessed with your own reality TV program called Your Own Life. Right? How about the news all the time? They're trying to distract us. I'm not saying don't know about them, but it's such a convenient escape from the work. What it takes to win is not worrying about all that stuff. That should be the background noise.
How do we increase our self-esteem? You have to begin to fortify yourself. I believe that you have to begin to consciously monitor your inner conversation and start talking to yourself. Start building yourself up. Sometimes the only good things you will hear about you are the things that you say to you.
It's something in me that says, I need to do this. So that's the first voice. But we've trained ourselves to ignore this voice and listen to the second voice that I believe is a collection of the average society. It's what we learned. It's the practical voice, the should voice. Whenever you say I should do, where are you getting that from? What society says. Well, we forget society's kind of crazy. It's like, why are we using them as the bellwether that we should get our advice from, right?
52 is the age at which a man's philosophy is fully formed. But it's okay to run a little behind schedule as long as you recognize it and do something about it. And you don't need volumes of books or the library in order to create a personal philosophy. You can do that anywhere. You can do it right here.
So this first voice goes, I think we should do this. And we go right to this voice that says why we shouldn't. So for instance, there's many people that feel guilty about something. If you actually go to your heart, you can understand at a true level why you could have done something like that. Everyone can. But what causes our pain is trying to get society to understand why we did something. But the collective society isn't at a consciousness where they've forgiven themselves for anything. So there's a lot of judgment you'll look at in yourself if you look at yourself through society's eyes.
Success is not in short supply. It isn't rationed, and you stepped up to the window and it was all gone. No, no, no. It's like an ocean here. Now, if that's true, what's the problem? Well, some people go to the ocean with a teaspoon. Have you got the picture? See, what you want to do in view of the size of the ocean is trade your teaspoon for at least a bucket. And you'll look better down at the ocean. Kids won't make fun of you, right? Okay. Now there's two ways to ask, and we'll wrap up goal setting. Two ways. Here's number one. Ask with intelligence. It didn't say ask intelligently, but I'm sure it meant that. Don't mumble. You don't get anything by mumbling. Be clear. Be specific. Intelligent asking means how wide, how high, how soon, when, what size, what color, how much. Define what you want and describe what you want. That's powerful. In the weekend seminar we teach, goals become like a magnet. They pull you that direction, and the better you describe them, the more they pull. So ask intelligently. Here's number two. Ask with faith. That's the childish part of the equation. Believe you can get what you want like a child. Not an adult. Adults are too skeptical. So the formula really reads, make plans like an adult and believe in them like a child. And the most incredible things will happen. Just try it for 90 days. Just try it. You can always go back to the old ways. Just try it. Just 90 days, 90 days. Now here's the last qualifying phrase on goal setting, as we promised to qualify everything. And it simply goes like this. Remember, you won't get everything you want. And we've already studied the reason for that. Simply, sometimes it hails on your crop and rains on your parade. It's that kind of planet. So you won't get everything you want, but if you will work this goal-setting formula, you can get plenty for wealth and happiness. Now let me give you a little simple formula for goal setting, okay? We take 2.5 hours on the weekend for the whole 10-year plan. We don't have time for that tonight, but let me get you started with a little simple formula Mr. Schoaf gave me, and maybe this will be helpful. First of all, I've divided goals into two parts. First is long range. Long range goals, that's your dreams. Your dreams for the next 3, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 years, actually the rest of your life. Your dreams. You've got to keep dreaming. Ronald Reagan, president, said to the joint session of Congress a few weeks ago, "The Republic is a dream. And if we don't keep dreaming, we will lose the Republic." Your better future is a dream for yourself and for your family. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What do you want to be? What do you want to see? You've got to dream dreams. There's a Bible phrase that says, without dreams and visions, people perish. You've got to have something to go for that inspires the heart and the soul.
The truth will set you free. The truth will stand, and the truth will deliver you from procrastination and laziness and the downward spiral that comes with a lack of discipline.
Character is the dedication to a set of standards. What are your standards that you've set for your life? I will never violate my standards. You got to say that every day. I do not tell lies. That's a standard.
So don't believe the lies, believe the truth. And the truth is, you have time. You have the skill, you have the knowledge and the discipline to get it done.
Yet in life, outside of that one area, most of us are worried about suffering. We're afraid of it. When we're suffering and sacrificing, we wonder whether it's worth it. We wonder whether we're supposed to. We wonder whether sacrifice or setbacks or suffering is a sign it's not our real dream, don't we?
If you really want to develop the power of positive thinking as a habit, as a lifestyle, as a strategy for success, then decide right now to find something to appreciate from any seemingly negative person or situation, and develop the habit of giving compliments.
See, at the gym, you'd never think, oh, I'm going through some pain and discomfort. This must be a sign I shouldn't be at the gym. You'd never think that. It goes with the territory. Everyone knows this. Build a bicep or a tricep or a chest or legs. You have to break it down, suffer and sacrifice for it to grow. The indication of the pain and sacrifice and sweat. Don't you feel better at the gym? So in that area, we all know to the extent we suffer and sacrifice is to the extent we grow. And your body is a metaphor for the rest of your life.
See, if you really want to have some more positive feelings in your life, you got to keep focusing on what's right. You got to get curious. And most importantly, you got to find something to appreciate even in the tough times. Because in reality, as we've talked about so often before, the toughest times in your life sometimes provide you with the real resources to change your life.
That peace that we're after lies somewhere beyond personality, beyond the perception of others, beyond invention and disguise. Your need for acceptance can make you invisible in this world. Don't let anything stand in the way of the light that shines through this form.
What's the one thing that keeps you from becoming who God made you to be? What's the one thing that keeps you from using your shape? Write it down. Fear. That's the word. It's fear. It scares you to become somebody that other people may not understand.
Risk being seen in all of your glory. Our eyes are not viewers. They're also projectors that are running a second story over the picture that we see in front of us all the time. Fear is writing that script, and the working title is, I'll Never Be Enough. And when I say life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you, I'm just making a conscious choice to perceive challenges as something beneficial so that I can deal with them in the most productive way. You'll come up with your own style. That's part of the fun.
If you make it to the end of this video, I want you to write, self-love is the cure to self-hate. These are the type of qualities that I'm going and have been instilling in my daughter. Nobody wants to be alone. But if you show up empty, as an empty shell, and you're expecting this man to fulfill you, because as soon as he leaves, you're depleted, you're empty, and you have nothing left for yourself again. Never rely or depend on anybody to fulfill your heart.
You've got to dream. Don't lose your dreams for yourself, for your future, for your family, the dreams of love and enterprise and travel and doing things, becoming something unique on your journey here. Don't lose your dreams. Do some dreaming. That's long-range goals. You've got to have those. So that's number one. Here's the second part of goals, short range. Short-range goals, that's your goals for tomorrow, this week, this month, this year, the immediate future. We call these confidence builders. Because if you set up something short-range, go for it, get it, latch onto it, work hard, accomplish it. That starts building your strong feelings to go for your dreams. Now, I've divided goals into 3 categories. Here they are. Number 1 is economic. That's your goals for money, income, business, profits, production. Economics. Make sure you've got your economics well planned. Economics plays a major role in everybody's life. Economics is major, which means it ought to be meticulously well planned for tomorrow, this week, this month, this year, long range. What if you asked somebody tomorrow if you could see their meticulously well-planned list of economic goals? What would they probably say? They'd say, you some kind of a nut? You must be weird. Hey, I found out what success is. Success is doing what the failures won't do. Make sure you've got your economics well planned. It'll put you in the top 5%. One of the key little subjects we talk about on the weekend is the 7 fundamentals for wealth and happiness. And that's one of them, well-planned economics. It's a fundamental if you want to do well. Join the top 5%. Anybody in this room can join the top 5%, if you will. Now here's the second category of goals, things. Make a list of the things you want. And on my list of things, now I put everything. Little things as well as major things. Doesn't matter how small it is, it goes on my list. I used to just put major things, cars, homes. I don't do that anymore. I now load my list with everything. Everything. And the reason is, part of the fun of having a list is checking it off. That's it. Boy, at the end of the day, if you can go, got it, got it, got it, got it, got it, got it, whatever it is, right? You get into the habit. So load up your list, the things you want. Now, when you check off something major, celebrate. That's an important point to make. Celebrate your achievements. Live it up. Have a party when you reach something you've worked for a while. See, we all grow from 2 experiences. One is called the pain of losing. The other one is called the joy of winning. We need both of them. Amplify them as much as you can, which also means make losing painful. If you set up something, fooled around, didn't get it, put it on yourself. On the other side, if you did get it, congratulate yourself. Self-congratulations is a sign of maturity. Seeking congratulations is a sign of immaturity. But hey, winning and losing, see, that's what it's all about. That's the name of the game. Now, some people lead such mediocre lives, at the end of the day, they don't know whether they're winning or losing. They got no clue. Guy's just going through the day with his fingers crossed. There's a better way. Okay, here's the third category of goals, personal development. Put those goals together. Personal development goals. That's your goals to be stronger, more decisive, be a speaker, be a leader, learn a language, all kinds of skills. Okay. The whole weekend seminar was designed to improve all your skills so that you walk away more skillful. And that's what you want, the personal development skills. That's what attracts, that's what brings good things to your life, the person you become more skillful. Now, this is quite a package to work on. Economics, things, personal development. For tomorrow, this week, this month, this year, long range. Okay? That'll get you started. Now, here's the simple formula for setting goals. It goes like this. A, work on your goals. That's step one. Work on them. And I put the word work there deliberately. Setting goals is plain hard work. I don't want to kid you. We haven't come here tonight to kid each other. It's work. I know it's work. That's why a lot of people just let it slide. It's work. Many people work hard on their job, but they don't work hard on their future. They just let that slide. And the work involved is making plans. I know most people don't. I understand that, but don't let that be you. Guy says, well, yeah, you work where I work, but the time you struggle home, it's late. You got to eat a bite of supper, watch a little TV, get to bed. You can't sit up half the night. Plan, plan, plan. And the guys behind. Good worker, hard worker, sincere. But you got to be better than sincere, working hard. You got to be better than a good worker. You got to be a good planner. Somebody once wisely said, the people who fail to plan are planning to fail. Well said. So work on your goals. Here's step 2. Write your goals down. That's so important. I teach my staff around the world, put your goals in your journal. Because one of the major people you want to study is yourself. So here's the list of goals I put together 3 weeks ago. Here's the list of goals I put together 2 years ago. Here's some of the changes I made, rearrangement of my priorities. I scratched these off, I put these on, I've gotten these. Study your accomplishments, study what your desires are. Put them on paper, write them down. Here's another reason for writing your goals down. It shows you're serious about doing better. And to do better, you gotta get serious. You don't have to be grim, but you must be serious.
Credit goes to our awesome patrons who make videos like this one possible. Consider joining them to support our work. You can also support us by subscribing to our channel and clicking the bell button to get notified when our new videos are released. And as always, thank you for watching.